the desert of the real.
Welcome to the Desert of the Real. I am your host, Ryan Hudson, and joined with me, as always, is your fearless co-host,
Jason Dietz.
The Desert of the Real is a movie podcast where I force Jason to watch the big blockbuster movies he's refused to watch because he didn't think they were worth his time. And we're watching the Marvel movies. He's watching these for the first time.
We're almost done.
We have 7 left.
Oh my goodness. Thank goodness.
We teach high school. No, we don't teach high school. We're 2 high school teachers. We teach English, film, philosophy, and creativity classes between the 2 of us.
Yeah.
We have graduate degrees and try to use our academic training to dig deeply into movies. We explore the creativity, philosophy, film studies, and ethics in our films and push you, the listener, to think critically about your entertainment.
True. We do that.
You know, usually we start with a summary of the movie.
We haven't done that for a long time.
I was listening to the Eternals episode, and it was like...
It's probably been a dozen episodes since we've done a summary.
What movie did we watch this week?
We watched Spiderman No Way Home.
Did you have any expectations for this movie?
Not a one.
That's what I was
Other
thinking.
than it was a Marvel movie, so it was probably going to be basically the same plot as all of the others.
But you've kind of haven't you liked the other Spider-Man movies? Homecoming and Far From
really.
Home? No?
I mean, they were fine.
Here's the fun thing. You never saw the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew
No,
Garfield.
I didn't know who that guy was that showed up at all. I had to look him up.
Okay, what's funny is, this was going months ago where we got busy at summer and stuff. And I was like, you should. I was trying to hint without basically deliberately telling you. Like, hey, just check out those Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yeah,
just to
I didn't.
See. Yeah, I know.
I am at my superhero limit.
And I don't even love those ones. I like Andrew Garfield as an actor.
Sure.
And as a Spider-Man. But he is way, way too cool as a Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And
that was my thoughts.
His Spider-Man movies are just... I don't love them, but they look cool at least.
Yeah.
Some people will strongly disagree with that sentence, though.
Yeah. After watching this, I am 100% Team Tobey Maguire.
Oh, really?
I love him as Spider-Man. Such a good... That's who I imagine Spider-Man would be as an adult.
Yeah.
Is Tobey Maguire.
Do you want to give us a brief, cynical summary?
Wait, are we doing summaries again?
I mean,
I didn't know that.
Let's go for it.
Because we cut them because they were so long.
Well, it's because you're
Okay.
snarky.
Justifiably in most cases. In this case, however, not. So we've got Spider-Man at the start of this movie. I don't even remember how it starts.
It starts literally from the end of the last one.
In media res.
In media res, which
Yes.
is a film term which means...
In the middle of the action.
Yeah, in the midst of things, in the middle of things.
So, Peter Parker has been outed. And everyone thinks he's Satan, basically. And so he's trying to deal with that. They did a really good job setting up how that would look.
Yeah.
And feel for a, what is he, senior? So 18-year-old kid. So he's trying to so because everybody hates him, everybody hates everyone that loves him. So MJ and whatever the chair guy's name is, Ned, are also hated on. They apply to all these colleges. They're all basically, screw you. You're too controversial. We're not having you in our school. So he decides that he's going to go and get Doctor Strange to cast this spell that's going to... This was actually the only part of this movie that I didn't love.
It's
super hokey.
It's hokey. It's also easy to kind of tear apart.
Right.
You're not supposed to
Right.
think about
Right.
it too much.
And while I was... Okay, anyhow, so Doctor Strange is like trying to make this spell to make everyone forget that Peter Parker equals Spider-Man. And then Peter Parker keeps saying, oh, wait, but I want this person. So he kind of resets his spell. Anyhow, he comes and gets this big friggin' spell that's out of control, which he puts in a little cube or something, little thing. And so I immediately wrote, something catastrophic could have happened, and it's in this little diamond that someone might find. And so anyhow, at that point I was like, oh man, this is another piece of crap. Anyhow, so somebody does the spell, like all of us, like the cross, what is it? The stupid name of multiversal.
Yeah.
People have somehow now started coming in, and they've called everyone that knows Peter Parker, right?
Who knows that Peter Parker is
Spider-Man.
So here's the thing. I have to stop because
I missed something.
You had no idea.
I did not.
Movie. Like, I even told you to try to get your child to turn the movie on so you wouldn't see, because I didn't know if a poster or the thumbnail would have 3 Spider-Men on it.
Yeah, no, I didn't know anything.
Because you texted me, which was a lot of fun and made me happy. Like, Dr. Octopus is in this, and it's the same actor.
It's the same guy.
Like, yes, he has no idea.
Yeah, so that was super cool because those Spider-Mans I loved.
Yeah.
Those were marvelous.
And going into this movie, I tried not to watch trailers. In fact, I didn't, but that still didn't prevent, like, if you go on the internet, people talking about it. Oh, because the trailer revealed Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin.
That's dumb.
That's the, like... And
that's why no one should watch trailers.
And there was this behind-the-scenes picture of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
That is also
like,
dumb.
Standing together, and people are like, oh, that's Photoshop or that's whatever. That's not Spider-Man. Yeah. And like for other movies and interviews, Andrew Garfield's like, no, I'm not in Spider-Man. That's I don't know what's going on the internet.
So he lied?
Yeah, like
that's funny
for a long time. But I tried, and know what's extra funny? Not funny, but Marvel. I follow Marvel on Instagram, and the premiere of this movie, it's like, here's Willem Dafoe, here's Alfred Mullaney, and here's Jamie Foxx, all in this, like, oh, I didn't know Electro was in this, thanks for spoiling it, Marvel.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to be blind, but I knew, and I remember, because students would talk about it coming up, like, yeah, it's basically confirmed Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in this movie, and it's like, it's not confirmed, because I was like, trying to go, doing the best you can in the age of the internet, going in blind.
Yeah. So for me, I was totally blind, and it was a blast.
What were your thoughts?
I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. They got the same guy, and then Willem Dafoe, I think is a magnificent actor. His Green Goblin in the what is the other Spider-Man called?
We call him the Sam Raimi trilogy.
Great. And there still gives me chills that he can be so completely evil and then so completely good and just switch back. He's magnificent. Yeah. So once he showed up, I was like, I am in. This is going to be awesome. So I was okay with Doctor Strange's stupid little thing in the crystal or whatever, because I'm like, if this is what's coming, bring it. And so then guy after guy after guy shows up. The 2 Spider-Mans show up, and for my money, the scenes where the 3 Spider-Mans are interacting are the best scenes in all of Marvel.
Yeah.
They are so flawlessly written. The interplay between the 3 of them, I would swear that they were best friends in real life.
Yeah.
It is flawless. And so, so whatever the guy, which one is the Peter Parker of this set? What's his name?
Tom Holland.
Okay, so the Tom Holland decides that all of these villains, he finds out that they are going to be killed by their Spider-Mans in their multiverses or whatever it's called.
Right.
And so he decides that sucks. I'm not sending them back to get dead. I'm going to see if we can fix them. Mm-hmm. So he starts working on fixing them, and he fixes Doc Ock, and then he starts fixing the electricity guy, and then he starts fixing Green Goblin, and Green Goblin's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. Also, I'm going to turn you into me. And so he kills Aunt May. And that was the moment when I realized not only is this like a great plot, a great concept, and a great set of actors acting their hearts out. This is the first time in Marvel for me that the emotion of it is going to work. And then that's when I was like, dang, this is probably going to be my favorite movie.
Yeah.
Because I felt that. Like when Aunt May is dying and he's sitting there, and like I understood why Green Goblin did it. Like I felt it. I didn't cry, but I was like, I felt it. And so we have what is his name again? Tom Holland. Tom Holland is like, he's on the edge of becoming what Green Goblin was trying to make him.
Yeah.
Like he's so angry and he just wants to kill this guy to get vengeance. So then we have this actually really good. So this is also I think my favorite big fight scene.
Between him and Goblin?
Between him and all of the people.
Oh,
like when they're at the Statue of Liberty. It is very well done.
Yeah. Very
Very well executed. I didn't feel at any point that I'm like, this is stupid. Why are they doing this? Everything made sense.
Yeah.
And so they, they they fix all of the stuff, and then the end of this is him just Tom Holland just trashing Green Goblin.
Like not holding.
And it was visceral. Mm-hmm. Like, it was like kind of bordering on maybe this should be R-rated, because he is like everything and going at him. And then the other Tobey Maguire just kind of shows up, and he's just stands in front of him. He's looking at him. Yeah. It was this perfect moment, because like Tom Holland is like raging, and Tobey Maguire didn't even say anything. He's just looking at him, and he's like radiating love. Like I could feel it. And so anyhow, okay, I'll admit this is a magnificent movie.
This is
by far. This should
MCU.
Be more than 5 stars for me.
Yeah. It's a high honor coming from you.
That is massively high honor. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, so he doesn't kill Green Goblin. Instead, he injects him with the fixie thing. And then we have the other part that I'm like, whatever. Like the universe starts ripping open for some reason. Like I think what happened? Like the crystal broke or something. Like how did the thing happen?
The spell got released.
Oh my goodness! What a surprise. Yeah. Okay, that's the other part. I was like, okay, whatever.
But the thing is, with magic gets tricky. However, it does put. This is probably my favorite thing about this movie. It leaves Spider-Man in the perfect situation. He is officially Spider-Man now. Because before, he's MCU Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man in the same universe that Tony Stark has existed. Like, his suit is high-tech. He's got connections to all the Avengers.
Sure.
But now, because the spell broke and everything, he's officially on his own. He's officially the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. No affiliation with Iron Man, with Avengers.
He comes into his own.
He's literally has no choice but just to be.
Yeah.
That's where Spider-Man is perfect to me.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been a fourth one. They've just announced the director in real life not too long ago at the time of recording.
Yeah.
And I only hope it's like the perfect, like it'd be hard to mess this setup up, if I'm being honest.
I think it would be very easy to mess it up, and they shouldn't make another one. I think this is a perfect spot.
Except for it's like I don't know. I'm so excited to see MCU Spider-Man being here.
I'm not, but so
anyway.
So the emotional build-up, the plot build-up, everything build-up is so just almost flawless that this is the first time in the whole of my experience making this podcast that like I had tears in my eyes watching him decide to basically sacrifice his entire life to save the rest of the planet. So this is what, like, I really wanted to like Endgame. This is what Iron Man was trying to do, but because Iron Man is an a-hole, it didn't really matter to me.
Okay. Yeah.
This kid is literally giving up everything. Like everyone he knows and everyone in the multiverse that knows knows Peter Parker is not going to know him anymore.
Yeah.
And he makes that choice. He sacrifices himself for the good of the multiverse. The end.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
It's
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little shocked that you liked this movie. Because I thought
Why?
I thought you would get annoyed with the multiverse stuff.
I did.
Seemingly fan servicey stuff, but
it worked.
It works
so well.
This is the movie after COVID. I don't remember if this came out before or after Top Gun Maverick, because Top Gun Maverick and then this movie, the first movie is like to make money like that we saw before COVID, basically. And a lot of people would say, "Oh, it saved cinema,
saved movies."
Enough people went to go see it again and again. You know.
Yeah, I didn't have this as fan service reaction at all.
I know,
because it was so well tied together. Like, it wasn't just, oh look, here's this guy, and oh look, there was a reason for them to be there.
Yeah.
There was backstory for them to be there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was super good.
Like, a common criticism, which is definitely a nitpick, is when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire stop out, there's just a few seconds that are meant for audiences to applaud. I actually disagree with that criticism, because I think it's not anything that registers. Like, he comes in, looks around, and says, "I'm Spider-Man," or whatever. But I've seen that complaint a few times online. But
that's a dumb complaint. This is a great movie.
The thing is, I want to talk about this later on, but like, Spider-Man is just the hero that almost everyone needs. And if you've seen all of these Spider-Man movies, this is the movie that really like makes it feel you've been with us for so long. I don't know, 20 years. I saw the first one, like, I was in elementary school. I remember my uncle being like, yeah, it's kind of scary, because the Green
Goblin is terrifying.
So, I was that young.
Well,
anyway, I want to talk about Spider-Man at the end, and what Spider-Man means.
But I think we're going to be talking about Spider-Man basically the whole episode. So,
okay.
So I think I got through a lot of my pros, but there's just some even everything works. Usually the humor annoys me in Marvel, because it's this kind of almost predictable one-upmanship or this kind of slapsticky stuff. But in here, there wasn't a lot of it, but when it was there, it hit.
Yeah.
So, I think my favorite line is when May's being interrogated by the FBI or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, "With all due respect," and I mean that very insincerely. And I was like, "Oh, I love you. You're a great character." Anyhow, yeah, I think we covered my pros, which are a lot. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, most of my pros are just things here and there, throughout the entire thing.
Are you going into battle dressed as a cool youth pastor, or that was another great line? I think I laugh more in this one than I have in any of them.
Yeah, it's
because it wasn't forced. It was just little bit. It was seasoning. It wasn't the.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Some of the movies that are these big epic dramas are funny here and there, and I think some movies that try to emulate that get that wrong.
Yeah, Guardians 2. I feel like they hit it, and we talked about this, but they hit the humor perfectly with the first one, and the second one they just kind of they tried to recapture it, and it failed for me.
I am curious to know Guardians 3. What you'll think.
That's in the future.
In the future,
fresh water or salt, because you're an octopus. It's so good. Oh man. So yeah, the whole movie for me was honestly a pro, with the exception of and it's kind of sucks that the two things that make the movie work are stupid. like the screwing up of the spell that starts all of the movie.
Yeah.
That's dumb to me. And then the releasing of this, like, no one on the planet watching this movie thought that little spell was going to stay in that crystal forever.
Right.
Like, that's just bullcrap. So, but other than that, I really had no complaints at all.
Yeah, I think the acting is strong. Like, Tom Holland showed us he can act.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And Willem Dafoe, you already mentioned, like, he's so good. It's hard to... There's no way to do the Green Goblin besides Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, I agree.
They tried it in The Amazing Spider-Man 2,
oh.
which is kind of funny, because it's like, Harry Osborn, you have your father's disease. You're going to look like a goblin. And then it happens by the end of the movie. It's like, took your dad like 50 years, but it took you like...
See, it sounds like I can just skip those. Why would I watch those?
I don't love them. There's a few callbacks that you might not have caught as someone who hadn't seen them, though.
Yeah, probably.
So, let me think here.
So is the electric guy in those ones?
Yeah. So Electro is essentially just a brand new character in this movie.
Oh.
In the first... In his movie, it's kind of funny. Like, the Lizard, I have no idea how the Lizard would know Electro's character. Like, didn't you have a bad comb over and a gap in your tooth?
Oh.
Like, because what's so funny in that scene, when he becomes Electro, it shows up close the gap in his teeth. Like, closing.
Oh my.
And like, Electro's blue, and he just is he's just a different character in this movie. And I like him in this movie a lot better, because he's like, wait a second, I'm powerful here. And whenever he uses his powers, you see like electric on his face.
Yeah.
Because in the original like cartoon from the comics, he's got like a really bad looking mask, and that's what it looks like. So it's a fun way to pay tribute to his original
bad looking
mask. And the thing is, other things here and there, like Sandman and Lizard, they're completely CGI because the actors, for whatever reason, couldn't be there on set and stuff. So they used both when they became human at the end. Those were from like scenes or deleted scenes or alternate takes from their movies.
Oh, okay.
And the Sandman, he recorded his voice, but he just couldn't be there on set. Same with like the Lizard. But it kind of works because they're not as important as Goblin and
Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that scene when he's fixing everyone is so good.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden he's feeling his spider senses going off.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I don't know. And he just kind of walks to the room,
and
it's Goblin.
Yeah.
And like the beeping of Electro's thing that's like your powers.
Yeah.
It's just everything is building up the intensity.
Yep.
Just beautifully.
Yeah.
And then it all goes to crap. Like at first it's like, oh, this is going to be easy. Let's fix one. And then everyone else disappears.
So good.
And his fight with Green Goblin in the apartment, I think, is maybe the best fight in all the MCU. It's the most visceral to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's also hard to explain how different it is seeing it on a big screen in the movie theater compared to at home. Because at home, there's not a problem with it. I just remember in the theaters being like, they're killing each other.
Yeah.
They're going through the floors. I just remember it being this huge thing in the theaters. Like, wow, like, I don't know if the whole MCU's had a fight like this.
Yeah.
Like, you felt it on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just, it's hard to say the good parts because it's kind of all the good parts.
Yeah, I agree. For the first time, I agree.
I have a couple Easter eggs of the reel. There in the background, you can see a billboard for a musical called Rogers the Musical.
Okay.
So in the Hawkeye TV show, it takes place in New York City, and Hawkeye he sits down and watches some of Rogers the Musical.
Is that Steve Rogers the musical?
It's the story of Avengers, and there's like a song that goes, "I can do this all day," which is kind of funny. And I think at Disneyland for a time you could have gone and seen people dress up and dance to it and stuff.
Oh.
But it was an Easter egg for you because you didn't see it. Also, do you know who his lawyer was? Matt Murdock. That's Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
And it's the same actor from the Netflix Marvel shows. So before Disney Plus existed, there was a few Marvel characters that appeared in on Netflix, and they were different because they were TVMA. There was language and graphic violence, and and they were kind of connected to the MCU, but ultimately, like, if we're our own thing, and so it's the same actor as those shows. But
Okay.
honestly, I think the next step for Spider-Man, if they make a Spider-Man 4, just let's have him and Daredevil meeting up or teaming up, and let's take on the Kingpin or something. Because Kingpin's also from that show too, and appears a few times. But maybe we don't need a mega villain. Let's have just a big, wealthy guy who uses his power and influence to.
Maybe we
fight.
don't need another Spider-Man.
It would be cool to see Daredevil and Spider-Man team up, though.
See, this is what I'm always talking about, because this is a perfect moment. Like, he has made the ultimate sacrifice. He's given up everything, and he's still willing to be the neighborhood spy. He's still willing to do the stuff, even though no one knows him, no one loves him, no one cares.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate. That is a superhero.
Yeah, that is
the ultimate
best
superhero.
superhero.
Okay, and now I mostly agree with that. I'm still Team Cap.
Well,
because he's a questioner, but this is the first time I think in the MCU that any of these characters has been willing to give up literally everything to do what he knows he needs to do.
Yeah, and
it's so beautiful.
We love Spider-Man.
Well, yes.
There's something cool just as a story. Like, the MCU wisely doesn't show us Uncle Ben and his death and stuff, because at that point we've seen it twice.
So wait, this guy doesn't have an Uncle Ben.
Right. He kind of alludes to it.
Okay.
In, like, when Tony first meets him and stuff. So what's genius about this movie is you don't expect the Aunt May death, first of all.
Yeah.
But you don't expect her to be the Uncle Ben. Because
Great.
if you've been following the movie, like, oh, that already happened beforehand. And as an audience, we've seen it in 2 separate movies.
Right.
We don't need it. Like Batman, we're always seeing his parents being gunned down in in Criminal Alley or whatever. Even in, like, the Joker movie, it's like, let's just show this again. Like, we don't need to see it. We know. At this point, we know what happens to Batman's parents. Right. But this movie kind of tricks us, where it's like, yeah, he's had his speech. We know how he got here. But then it's like, nope, here it is. This is the one that's teaches him, with great power must also come great responsibility, which is how it's worded in the comic instead of, the how it's usually heard in the movies and stuff. And that sets off Spider-Man's whole, like, who he is. It's impossible to detach him from that life motto.
Right.
That's his creed.
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any nitpicks or negatives?
Other than the dumb spell thing on both ends of the movie, no.
I was wondering, because his Flash Thompson he wrote a book about Peter.
Yeah.
So it's like, what happened to that book? The spell makes people forget, but does that book not exist anymore?
Probably not, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man.
So.
Anyway, philosophy of the real.
So we have MJ. MJ's philosophy is, if you expect disappointment, you can never really be disappointed.
Yeah.
So that is our classic pessimist philosophical worldview. And I love that this movie doesn't say, nope, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the ending, it's got to be very disappointing for Spider-Man. He saves the world, but he has nothing now. He's given up everything and everyone he loved. And so, but ultimately, the movie, full disclosure, I am a realist. So I recognize that there are a lot of good things in the world, in people, but I also recognize that there are a lot of bad things. And so before I'm deciding, like I'm taking in, these are all the good, these are all the bad, what does this mean? Then I decide what to do or what to believe or think. And so I feel like this is our first realist movie, because there's a lot of good. Like a lot of people make sacrifices, a lot of people give up things for the greater good, but also there's a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Like crap, not crap in terms of garbage, but crap happening. A lot of things going wrong, a lot of pain in the world. And so this movie presents us with an equal balance. So this is a realist worldview of the world of MCU, which I don't like. I feel like I don't want to say every other one, but almost every other Marvel movie always ends on in an optimist place. We always end happy. This movie doesn't end happy. It ends satisfyingly.
Yeah.
So this is the first movie that I feel like is an actual movie in terms of other great movies, like I don't know, like Shawshank Redemption doesn't really end happily. It ends satisfyingly, realistically. And so I love that MCU finally had the guts to like do this to a hero.
Yeah.
Which has been sorely lacking in my opinion. So our philosophy of the real is there's a plethora of worldviews that we can adopt. Optimists, realists, pessimists are just three of them. Fatalists. And like this opens the door for other options besides just optimists and pessimists, which I appreciated. So what are your thoughts? Are you a optimist or a pessimist or what?
Well, that's a good question.
We can cut this because I keep doing this to you.
Here's the problem. I swear, I think I'm getting more and more pessimistic as I get older or something. Or I used to think the world was a bit better place. Actually, there's no answer, I've realized, because there's
just your answer.
Like, you know what, my life's good.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, my life could be better. You know what I mean? The world's falling apart around me.
Yeah.
But overall, it's, hold the ones you love, or look at what you actually have in life.
Yeah.
Things seem pretty good. Yeah. It's easy to forget that, though, sometimes.
Yeah. It is very easy.
Yeah. Here's the thing I noticed, because I wrote that line down, MJ, that's like her creed: expect disappointment and you'll never be disappointed. When she forgets who Tony or Peter is, she says that again, but I think she changes by the time, like, around the climax, because
she does.
Peter is dead inside, or he's
right.
like that scene in the rain and stuff, and I think he's flipped who he was. And so she steps up emotionally to try to help him back.
Yep.
And because he tries to say something like that when they're like fixing things in the computer, and she's like, "No, not this time." I forget what the line is, but it
was a great moment.
She stops because she knows she has to either one hand help Peter out emotionally, or just she is changing because of Peter growing as a character. Yeah,
I think the second.
And anyway,
great moment.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that until I was watching it this time.
Yeah.
No.
So the other philosophical thing that this movie does, I think, a magnificent job with, is the idea of fate versus, like, are we fated to be whoever it is that we are, or can we change? Is there agency?
Right.
And the MCU has played with this a lot. Like they've done this a lot, but this is the first time where, like, they just kind of moved all their chips forward, and they're like, this is what we're doing. This movie is about, can the Green Goblin change? Can he, I don't know what happens to his dark side, if it reassimilates like if they knit together or if it just goes away. But can Dr. Octopus change? Can electromagnetism, whatever guy, can he Electro, sure. Can people change, or are we just stuck how we are? And the answer is it's not a simple answer. Because there's still, so like Electro's a good example of this. So Electro wanted to stay Electro because in his real life, he's a powerless person. He has no influence, no authority, no power. And so he wants to stay, like he likes having the ability to impact the world around him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to give that up. And when he's back to being this powerless guy, he still has that, like, man, I want that. I want to be able to influence us. So it's not a simple answer. Yes, you can be changed. No, you can't. I think Doc Ock still has whatever it was that led him to strap himself into the thing, and whatever happened to him is still in there. He has just been able to like shift it so that his good side or whatever is in control of that.
Yeah.
And so in other Marvel movies, there's just this black and white. They're evil. They're always going to be evil. We just have to destroy them. Mm-hmm. That's not the case here, and I love that.
Yeah, like the idea of Peter, like, wait. Yeah, that's like, he's like, let me help them first. And even Doctor Strange is like, this is a dumb thing. Like, why are you even playing with this idea? But that's who Peter is.
Yeah. Well, and we even see it. Sorry to finish the thought. We even see it in Peter in reverse.
Yeah.
Because Peter is essentially a good guy, but for, I don't know, in 40 minutes of this movie, he's right on the edge of being a villain. Like, he's right on the edge of, I'm going to kill him and become what the Green Goblin, I don't care if I become that. Yeah. I want vengeance. And so we see that in Peter as well. So we go back to the Taoist concept of yin and yang, or like all of us have a light and a dark, or, you know, male, female, or whatever in us. This movie embraces that.
Yeah.
And suggests that whichever wolf we feed, which I think you brought up in one of our other episodes, whichever side of that yin-yang we feed is the side that we become. So what Peter Parker does in this movie is what I try to teach, like everyone that I teach, I try to teach them this, is you have enormous power as an actor in your sphere of influence. If you can harness that power that you have and use it to influence the people around you, the world changes.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Peter does in this movie. He's not, like, I've never thought of him as like this super powerful person, but because he's willing to do the right thing and you know, subjugate his dark side to the willingness of the right thing, to the point that he's willing to sacrifice so much for what he believes in, the world changes around him.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that's a function of his superpowers. I don't feel like that's a function of his strength. I don't feel like that's a function of whatever other powers he has. I feel like that's a function of one person believing strongly that other people can be better.
Right.
And being the catalyst for that to happen. I feel like we could take all the superpowers out of this movie completely, and it would still be a magnificent movie that would illustrate the power of one person to change the world. So the unequivocal answer of this movie to fate versus can people change is absolutely people can change. But sometimes we need someone else to start the change in us.
Right.
And so the call for this movie to me, and the reason I loved it so much, is I feel like it's calling us to be that. one person, to be the Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Not slinging webs and whatever, but to be the person that looks at your world and, yeah, there's crap going on here. This person's kind of sucks. That person kind of sucks. But what if I do this one thing that tweaks this one thing in them,
right,
that changes them, and they can change and they can change. So that's the reason why, like, above the great acting, above the, like, all of the awesome that is this movie, that's why I feel like this is above 5-star movie for me, is because that message is so clearly illustrated, and that's something I believe to the very core of me.
Yeah.
Is that I believe in the one ant. I believe that one person can change the world. And so sorry, that was a lot of soliloquy, but that's my passion.
And
so
actually, you remind me, apart from this movie, where when he meets the other Spider-Man, and they're saying, well, this is what happened to me, and this is what happened to me, type of thing. And Tobey Maguire says, when the man killed my uncle, I wanted to kill that man. Like, I got what I wanted.
Yeah.
It didn't make me feel better.
Yeah.
So he's like, that's why the part at the end is so powerful. He's going to kill Green Goblin.
Yeah.
And Toby he like holds the gliders, like, you cannot kill this guy.
Yeah.
You cannot do this. Because Peter needed help from a friend. Like you were just saying, he needed something to help him be the better version of himself.
To help tweak that little dial to the better version.
Right.
Gorgeous. Loved it. So that's philosophy of the real.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
I
love this movie. I really
just
do.
Keep thinking of moments. Like, I love, like when you said they're just talking to three of them. He's like, what is the Andrew Garfield one say? He's like, oh man, I suck. Or he's like, you don't. You're great.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Jay, thanks. I needed that. I
didn't hear that.
Boosted. Like, the chemistry between the three of them. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how that couldn't be real.
Yeah.
Because it's so perfect. But I guess it's acting. But man,
I think they became
sold
friends in
the
real life.
crap out of that. I was so in. That was so good.
I want to add a couple more things to, not necessarily Easter eggs, but some things I just want to point out. There's some fun music cues, and it also kind of highlights how good the music was in the Sam Raimi films. And I don't know the music in the Amazing Spider-Man; it just doesn't stand out. But when you hear Danny Elfman's score for Spider-Man, you're like, oh man, Spider-Man. And I saw an edit on YouTube when the three of them, things aren't working well because they don't know how to work as a team.
Right.
Then they all do the swinging thing, and they swing and do all their hero poses. There's an edit you can look up on YouTube where instead of the music that's in the movie, it's just like the classic Spider-Man theme set to an orchestra. Like Spider-Man, Spider-Man. But it's like set to an orchestra. And like, that would have made that moment...
that would have been cool.
Would have been cool because it's like their theme. It's not one or the other's. It's every Spider-Man's theme. So it's kind of a woulda, shoulda. So there's a fun little callback when they're making the things to fix the bad guys. When Tobey Maguire, there's a fun Sam Raimi camera reference. He grabs the thing, puts on the glove, twists the knob, like fast zoom-ins and fast edits. That's all Sam Raimi stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like think an Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Go into the tool shed. Let's strap this chainsaw to our hand. There's stuff like that in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's a little tribute to Sam Raimi, who, by the way, directs the next movie we watch. Sam Raimi directs...
Which is what?
Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. But there's that fun little tribute to him there.
Cool.
I'm going to spoil something from Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay. Because I'm never going to watch it.
Right. At the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, there's the Green Goblin, who's not really good, and they're at this big tower with Gwen Stacy, who's the love interest. And Green Goblin drops Gwen Stacy. She's falling to her death. Spider-Man flings a web, and it's like this whole slow motion thing. The web looks like a hand, and everything's falling in slow motion, and like reaches Gwen Stacy, but by the time she's falling, she snaps her neck back and dies. And this is like a famous Spider-Man death in the comics too. It's like, who's at fault here? Is it Goblin or is it Spider-Man? Like, it's it's not. If it wasn't for Green Goblin, it wouldn't have happened. But his web
was the immediate cause,
right? So that happened. So that's why he redeems himself by catching MJ.
Oh, that's what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, because he was super emotional when. Yeah. Which was cool, but I didn't understand why.
Yeah, there's context that you didn't have. Why he's like all of a sudden teary-eyed and stuff. It's because he finally redeemed that death.
Caught her. Yeah,
he caught her.
That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, and J. Jonah Jameson, he starts. It's kind of like a riff on what's the one guy, I guess Alex Jones or something, and selling vitamins. He's like in his garage in his underwear, and then he gets like a full studio by the end. It's kind of funny. Okay, a few things. Media literacy. I think this movie kind of serves as a small cautionary tale of the digital age. You do something and it's there forever. Yeah. Like, everyone knows he's Spider-Man and they're all after him. Yeah. If you do something, people can see it and will have it, potentially.
So uninstall your social media.
Yeah. The internet will remember.
Yep.
Also, rain or any water typically symbolizes a rebirth or a rebaptism. So when Aunt May dies, there's a super dramatic scene in the rain. He's staring at the big screen about his aunt dying, and he's a wanted criminal and stuff. Yeah. He has been reborn as evil Spider-Man. Like, he's on his road to kill now. Yeah. So that is a rebirth. So in your movies, pay attention to how water might affect it symbolically, because it's almost always some form of rebaptism, rebirth.
Oh, cool.
I just kind of wanted to talk about why Spider-Man is amazing. Like, why do we love Spider-Man? I asked a question on the internet to my 3 followers. And I was like, has Spider-Man overtaken Superman as the poster child for superheroes? So that's a tricky question, because not the image of superheroes, because you think of like a man with a cape who can fly and stuff.
Right.
But I think Spider-Man actually has overtaken the meaning of a hero from Superman. It doesn't help that Superman movies haven't been the best, and they've been kind of dark, and Spider-Man keeps having multiple things like video games or the cartoon movies where you can see how Spider-Man doing new things, and reasons why we love Spider-Man and things. So it's not like Superman's fault, but right. I think looking around, Spider-Man means more than almost every other superhero. I try to capture this reason why. So in this movie, he's talking to he's talking to Aunt May, because Green Goblin's there, and he doesn't know how evil Green Goblin can be. And Aunt May says, look around you. This is what we do. We help people. Yeah. So Spider-Man has this famous tagline attached, and we've already mentioned, with great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man helps people not because he can, but because he has to. He has been given this power. He has to help people. That's who he is. He will always help people. I watched, kind of because I couldn't fall asleep, but I watched Across the Spider-Verse again, because Across the Spider-Verse also largely connects to this movie, because it's like, you can't mess with what fate has deemed to need to happen. If someone needs to die to make you Spider-Man, then that person needs to die. But Miles Morales is like, that's not what Spider-Man is. We need to help. Because, have you seen Across the Spider-Verse?
I think so.
Into the Spider-Verse?
I think I've seen both of them.
I think both of them are excellent.
Yeah,
movies.
I would agree.
In fact, I honestly think Across the Spider-Verse is in conversation with the best sequels ever made, because it does everything a big sequel. This is a tangent, by the way, but
Yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse makes things bigger and better, like story-wise or plot-wise, whatever. It gives us time with characters that we couldn't get in the first movie because we didn't know them at the time, but we have this whole conversation with his dad and his mom, and it takes a big chunk of the movie that wouldn't have felt right in the first movie.
Yeah.
And it also takes what we already had and expounds on it. So like, oh, the spider that bit you, it wasn't from your universe. It came here, and that's why things are messed up. So it makes the story that we already had different. It
Deeper,
retextualizes
yeah.
it, deepens it. So it's a great, great movie. But that movie, both of them actually, they are just so beautiful love letters to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, like, even if every other Spider-Man's telling you, you can't do this, you need to let this person die for the canon event to happen, Miles Morales is like, he's like, that's not what Spider-Man is. In Spider-Man 3, you reminded me of this. Stanley has one of his special little cameos where he walks up to Peter Parker as just a random guy in New York City and goes, I guess one person can make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Spider-Man makes the world better because he helps one person.
Yeah.
He can fight big bad guys. He saves the world. He does whatever he needs to do, but he also helps the old lady across the street. He helps the person... like there's a beautiful old episode in like the 90s show where a kid has like cancer and he just spends the day with this kid, and it's, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I don't want to feel like I'm emotional because it's just Spider-Man, but Spider-Man represents anyone can be the hero. In fact,
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse has the theme song, or it has the saying, anyone can wear the mask, anyone can be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to sound cheesy, but Spider-Man is at its
Yeah.
core, you can step up, you can help out, you can make a difference, you can be
Yeah.
Spider-Man. That's beautiful to me.
I think you've persuaded me.
Because the thing is, it was, when he was invented, it was revolutionary at the time. He wasn't a billionaire like Batman or Tony Stark.
Right, just a kid.
He was a teenager, which was new, and it was emphasized he will have human problems, which was also kind of new, which doesn't seem like a big deal now, but at the time,
Yeah.
it was. Like, a teenager who has to do homework and also make it to Aunt May's party, or like to help out Aunt May, but also stop bad guys.
Yeah.
And he can't do all three. He will have to sacrifice a social life or a love life or something in real life to help someone else. And I think that there's something about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The
I
everyday.
think you've persuaded me. Because Superman is not the opposite of that, but the other end of that.
Yeah.
Like, literally no one else can be Superman.
Right.
Like, he's literally the only one in the universe that can be that.
And I don't know if we've seen Superman have like a bad day, you know?
Right. And so, yeah. Yeah, okay. I might, by next episode, I'll have to think about it, but I might be Team Spider-Man by the next episode.
There is a new-ish cartoon of Superman, which does the smart thing and turn it into like a rom-com on top of like the action stuff.
What?
He likes Lois Lane and he's too shy to tell her and stuff.
Oh,
so it kind of
geez.
plays with that. So there are stories out there where Superman kind of gets humanized.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think, yeah, Peter is us. Peter's the everyman.
Yeah, he is the everyman.
Which is a key archetype for us, because if we don't, like, ultimately Superman is unattainable.
Yeah.
Like, we can only worship. We can't become in any of these guys. Hulk we can't become. Black Widow, I suppose we could become if we
Yeah.
spent like 400 years training. But Spider-Man, we can do, like I said earlier, this did not have to have any superpowers in it, and
Yeah.
it still would have worked just fine.
Yeah.
We can be Spider-Man. So
And
I agree.
and even in this movie, near the end when it's like, I forget, or it's just like, how can we do this? Can we do this? Spider-Man just says, I have to try.
Yeah, it's true. If you have power, you have to use it.
Yeah.
That's why I teach, because that's literally my only thing that I do good.
One day I'll
That's probably not true, but that's the gift that I have, so I use it.
Yeah.
Cool. I have ethics.
Yeah, go for it.
That kind of actually ties in with what you said, but on the reverse. So the Green Goblin, when he very first reveals himself in the apartment or whatever, says something. He says, these are not curses, they're gifts.
Yeah.
He says, gods don't have to choose, we take. And he says, your weakness is your morality. And so the other side of what you're talking about, what we've been talking about, is that if you have great power, do you have to use it to help other people? Can you just use it to get a big boat and a car and a house and be powerful?
So I would maybe argue in real life, we don't think we see that. I guess if power equals money and what you can do,
right,
we don't necessarily see that happening.
That what?
People who could help out, maybe not helping out financially.
Wait, you're saying we don't see that?
I don't know if we do.
We don't see people helping?
In real life,
yeah.
People who could financially help. I don't know. I don't necessarily.
Okay, right.
In fact, did you get the meme I sent you about the trolley problem?
Yes.
It's like, what's going on? Oh, you're in the trolley problem. Oh, I thought I'd be the one controlling it. No.
Yeah.
That's someone else.
Okay, so in real life, we see a lot of, I have this power, I'm going to amass it for myself. Like we see that over and over and over and over. Like rock stars are famously that way. Like I can make this awesome music, I'm going to use it to get drugs and money and cars and bling and whatever. I'm not going to use this power to change the world or reshape it. There are famous examples of the opposite of that. Like Bono, for example, famously is very much, I'm using my music, my power to change the world and provide things.
Fun fact.
John Lennon. Go ahead.
Fun fact, Bono wrote the music to the Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, the musical.
Oh, cool. So there are some...
Wait, you were saying something good about John Lennon?
Yeah, he was another one that...
Gotta hear this Beatles company here.
That, famously, did, all of these concerts for peace and all of this stuff. But unfortunately, our world seems to lean more towards Green Goblin's ethics of power than toward Peter Parker's ethics of power.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad. My oldest child is constantly talking about, look, why can't these big corporations just stop? And there is enough that everyone could live comfortably. Everyone on the planet could live a comfortable existence if we could all Spider-Man up.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be our ethic. As a species, we are not interested in the success of others. We are interested in amassing as much as I can for myself.
Right.
And I think that is the key flaw in human society that has to change. Otherwise, we're going to wreck. We're going to die.
Yeah. I will say though, as a high school teacher, at a high school level, I think I do see people step up in a good way in high school situations.
Yeah. Right, and that's what I'm talking about. It's not necessarily these massive, high, uber powerful people.
Yeah.
It's us, first of all, recognizing who we are and our power, and secondly, being willing to use that power to lift other people.
Right.
That's it. If all the everymans on the planet started doing that instead of worrying about, oh, I need a better car than that person or whatever, and we just started lifting each other, the planet changes. Like everything about our lives that suck changes.
Yeah.
And it just takes all the ants. So I keep saying ants. It's from the scene in A Bug's Life where Hopper's like, what does he say? You're right. It was just one ant.
Right.
But if all the ants ever figure out that they outnumber us 100-1, there goes our way of life.
Yeah.
That's what I believe in. If we ever figure out that all we have to do is lift people around us, and it doesn't have to be the whole city of wherever you live, it could just be the people immediately around you, and then they lift, and then they lift, everything changes. And so, but functionally, those are the two ethical choices that we have with regards to power. Do we use our power to aggrandize ourselves? Do we use our power to aggrandize the human race? And I think the answer of this movie is we have to be willing to make that sacrifice.
Yeah.
So like just today, like every year I have a doctorate. I teach high school. Every year I have multiple students ask me, why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you could be at, X place or whatever. And this movie is my answer to that. Anyhow, so the point of that is every one of us has power. Mm-hmm. We all have gifts. We all have things that we're good at. And that's our choice. How are you going to use that?
Yeah.
So in my case, whatever gifts I have, I felt like I was at a crossroads where I can use this to be famous, publish, whatever, be a name in this little insular community of rec comp people that just basically tell each other they're great all the time and feel like they're better than the rest of the planet. Much love to you guys. Or I can take what I know and the power that I have, and I can spread it out and give that power to everyone that I come in contact with. And I think like we all have that choice.
Yeah.
I heart Spider-Man. Do you have a dessert? I don't even know. I was so caught up in the beauty of it that I'm sure they eat something at some point, maybe.
I think the dessert of
wait. She goes, I got it.
What is it?
He goes in to get coffee at the end.
Yeah.
And MJ doesn't know him.
But she is wearing her little necklace.
Yeah. And she has the... Band-Aid on from... But yeah, that's just a beautiful... oh man, I'm getting shivers at just how beautiful that is.
Yeah.
Because Peter's there and that's the love of his life.
Yeah.
That's his best friend over there. And we just feel how much he has sacrificed. And then we see that he's just happy that they're safe, that they're happy, that they're successful. He gave up everything so that could happen.
Yeah.
And we just beautiful acting right there at the end. I felt it. You can see it in his face. He's like, okay. I mean, it hurts. It's painful that this woman that I love doesn't remember me at all.
Yeah.
But she's happy. And so that is enough for me. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful ending.
Yeah.
And now we have to watch more frickin' Marvel movies. And they're going to make another frickin' Spider-Man. It's going to ruin it.
Zendaya and Tom Holland are a real-life couple?
Oh,
to this day. They were dating back at that movie. And they're still together, which is kind of nice.
That is nice. Also, I will say this about Zendaya. Everyone, all my kids are like, oh, she's so great. I didn't see that until this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't see a great actress until this movie.
I wish you loved Dune, the book.
I do love Dune, the book.
And she's barely in the first one, but she's Chaney, Paul Atreides' love interest.
Yeah.
And in the book, she's barely kind of a character. She's not really deep. She's got stuff to do in the movie. And You should
Well,
watch it.
for this podcast sometime.
When
why don't
Dune 3 comes
why
out.
don't we do that instead of friggin' Star Wars?
We'll do Star Wars next. Then we'll do. You want Indiana Jones?
I don't care. I want something
And
worth
I want to
watching.
do Pirates of the Caribbean.
No.
Yeah, we're doing pirates.
Okay. Anyhow, so we're done.
We're done.
So like us.
Oh yeah.
Especially share if you enjoy what we're doing, please share it with other people. Like, that is a power that you have, that you can, if this is being useful, helpful to you, like, share it with other people, because we're not getting paid here.
No.
We're doing this because this is something that we love.
We like it.
And a power that we have.
Can you believe?
So share it.
Sorry.
Can I believe?
That if you never started this podcast, you never would have watched this movie.
I'm trying to decide if all the other crap was worth this movie.
I mean, not to like. Okay.
Oh no.
I
guess yeah. Yeah.
Because next week we have Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, but never you fret. The multiverse actually isn't a big part of that movie. In all honesty. Okay. So.
Oh, sorry. I just remembered one other thing. Benedict Cumberbatch is not really a good actor in this movie.
I don't know.
Which is super surprising because he's amazing in Sherlock. He's amazing in other places. I forgot about that until just right now.
I feel like for some reason he doubled down on being ornery and grumpy, which was the wrong choice for this.
Yeah.
I don't know if that fits who he is.
It didn't really matter ultimately because he really wasn't in the movie that much, but I was like, what are you doing? So next week we have more schlocky garbage from Marvel.
I'll say this.
Probably.
It's divided. Some people like this is bad, and other people's like, no, this one's actually good. So
I guess
depends
we'll
on who
find
you
out.
talk to. There's 6 left.
Oh, I thought there were 7 left.
Well, this was one of the 7.
Oh, sweet. Oh man.
Should I tell you what?
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know?
I don't.
I'll say this. I am.
Apparently, I do want to know.
You do. I am. 6 left. I am excited what your thoughts are on 3 of them.
So Guardians 3. What else? Multiverse of Madness.
And Black Panther.
That one I'm excited for.
Yeah, I mean,
because I loved Black Panther.
I'm also interested to know what your thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder removed from the internet and what internet has to say.
Oh,
and
yeah,
also the Marvels and how you react to some of these without seeing some of the TV shows and if it still works. Anyway,
not really terribly excited for that, but the end is in sight. Which, when I started this, because I'm sure we covered this, Ryan begged me for
a long time, years
to do this podcast, and I'm like, no, why would I do it? So when I finally agreed to it, and I remember sitting in your basement when we were recording Iron Man, and I'm like, this is never going to end. I am never going to be done with this thing. And here we are a year and a half later, and we're still not done with it.
See, but now I'm looking at
Marvel.
Our future, like even with Star Wars, like what is the deep take on Star Wars movies I've seen dozens of times? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have seen the middle. Is it the middle 3? Is there like 10 now? I don't know. 4, 5, and 6 I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
I think those are as close to perfect as Star Wars can possibly get, which is why I think that they made the rest of them is stupid. So there you go.
Yeah.
Like you just stop. When it's perfect, you stop.
He's pounding the table.
Friggin' pound. Like we don't need T4 and 5 and 6. Terminator 2 is perfect. Stop. Go.
Hey,
Endgame. Stop.
If you want to recommend us a movie for Dr. Deeps. Anyway, keep thinking critically.
Now you got me. Okay, because I'm sick of frickin' Marvel. But this was like, okay, I'm angry because this was a genuinely, like, this was a great moment in my life. Yeah. This movie, And now I'm going to have to come back down from this to whatever's coming next.
Yeah.
That makes me angry. Why can't we just be here and stop?
Well.
Anyhow. But, you know, I do it for you guys and Brian because he likes watching me get frustrated.
Yes, I do. It's also fun watching students get frustrated with you, too.
I haven't had anyone
I should just burst in your room when you're mid-teaching and be like, this man hated Endgame, or this guy hates... this man hates Tony Stark.
I've had that conversation. I've had students be like, are you crazy? What are you talking about? Like, he's a butthole. Why would anyone like him? Anyhow. Yeah. But we've rehashed that.
Yes.
He didn't even come up
No.
this whole episode.
Yeah.
I think that's the first one. So, anyhow, we love you. Thank you for listening.
Bye.